Node.js HTTP module. The HTTP module is one of many core Node.js modules in the Node.js runtime environment. Its main purpose is to create HTTP servers so that we can transfer data over the HTTP protocol, which we know as the web. Now, the HTTP module has a few properties and methods and 5 major classes. Now, the first 3 methods you see there, the create server, the get, and request methods are quite popular, and those are widely used in the application. But the other 3 properties, the global agent, methods, and status codes, they're just there. Just want to show you what they are, but we're not going to use them in the program at all. And the 5 classes on the right side you see are the agent, client request, server, server response, incoming message. These are the classes that are responsible for creating objects that will be passed to the server to process some data. So let's go back to this very popular client server-side model again, just to make sure we have a good grasp of what things are, how they are laid out in the environment. So here we have on the client side a user, and then on the server side, now when we create a Node HTTP server, it will live on the server side. And again, when a client sends a request over to the server side, the Node.js HTTP server will receive the request and pass this data to a request object. That object will send the data to the event loop. If there are any long-term operations, that gets sent back to the thread pool, gets processed in the back. When it comes back to the callbacks function, then again, it will pass the data to a response object, which is in turn sends that off to the browser. So this is a typical model we see all the time. So when we create this HTTP server, we're going to do the following, which is quite simple really. So we create our app.js, and then in the JS, we're going to import the HTTP module. Once we imported that module, we're going to create a server. So we call the create server function we saw earlier. We're going to pass an anonymous function or a callback function that takes 2 parameters. The first one is the request, and then the second is the response in that order. And then inside this function, we will process the data. So again, this is a very low level. That means you are responsible for writing the content type, what type of data is going to be visible to the browser, and so on. So you have to do that. And then we can then, process the URL based on a particular pattern, or we call this the routing pattern, and we'll display the data to the user, and we're going to, end that request, the response, we issue the end function down there. But none of it's going to happen until we set this server to listen to a particular port. So we listen to a port 3000, for example. And so this is how an HTTP server is created in Node.js. In the next video, we're going to actually create this HTTP server in Node.js.